Hello and welcome everyone. In this video, I'm going to go over some of the chalkboard signs I made last year for the holiday season. I, of course, originally was going to release this video last year, but I never had the time to actually edit it and make it into a video until now. But I did release all of these signs on my channel as separate short videos. So they are on my channel last year, so you may recognize them if you watch them. But this year I'm going to make an actual big video out of it and kind of explain what I did in my process and everything. So let's get started. So this first one, all is merry and bright. First of all, I made a transition for all of these, or I wanted to make a transition for all of these chalkboard signs to kind of make a engaging video reel. And I kind of failed at a lot of them, and this is definitely one of them. So I tried to make something out of it here. There we go, there's the transition. But anyway, also this one was done a different day than everything else. I can't remember if I made this before everything else or after everything else. But the rest of them were all done a different day than this one. So you can tell by my outfit and my hair. But also with this one, I actually did record the process of me actually sketching out the sign. So that's the method I used for most of these. I think all of them, where I sketched something out in chalk first and then kind of erased it a little bit so it wouldn't be so dark, and then I went over it in my chalk markers. Or sometimes I used regular chalk as well. You'll see that later in the video. So the chalk markers I used, most of them were Versa chalk. I do have some Marvy Bistro markers as well. And then I do have, actually I didn't have them then, I got them for Christmas that year. I got the Lodi Dodi or Lottie Dottie, I forget how to say it exactly, but they're a smaller company who makes chalk markers, and I asked for them for Christmas last year, which was after I made these signs, and I did get them, so I didn't use them in these signs, but those are the three brands that I have and that I use. Anyway, as you can see here, I was trying to make a general kind of neon effect for merry and bright to illustrate the bright factor. And I did that by painting the letters merry and bright in green and red in a thicker line, and then I did a white thin line in the middle to make that glowing neon effect. And you see I was kind of struggling with that S there on is, and I wasn't 100% happy with the way that turned out, but the goal was to make these very quickly. I had 7 of them to make, so I kind of had to rush through a lot of them. And I didn't have the time to properly plan ahead of time, even though I had an idea of what I wanted in my head. I didn't have them perfectly planned out ahead of time, which I would have done if I had the time. And obviously if I was making this to sell to someone, or if I was making it on a permanent basis, which these weren't either. They were temporary, so I was going to erase them anyway. So I just did them very quickly, all of these. And here's another one I didn't properly make a transition for. Didn't do the second half of that transition very well, but it worked. So again, like I said, I did kind of a sketch ahead of time to try to figure out the spacing of the words. And then I just wrote over it in chalk marker, sometimes correcting myself along the way, because it might not be perfect when I'm putting the chalk down. Sometimes it's not perfect after I do the chalk marker either, but, it's a little bit better. Now, I will say, even though I am a lettering artist and I consider that my forte, like I said, doing this quickly and not lining things up properly, I make mistakes too. That no up on the top, that's what it's supposed to say if you can't tell. There's no place like home for the holidays. The no up on the top, I am not happy with. I would have redone that if, I had the time, but I figured, it looks fine for this. So I am telling you now, I'm not really happy with it, but, could have been better, but it's fine. Now I'm adding some decorative winter foliage to kind of frame out the lettering to have it not so plain, because some of my other signs were a little plain, so I wanted a little bit more on this one, and there was room to put it in. Little mistletoe at the top. And I was happy with the way that all turned out. Looked great. Now when I'm erasing, I try to leave enough time to dry it out, but sometimes I have to redo things because I erase a little too soon and I end up smudging the chalk marker. But other than that, not bad. But overall, I was happy with this one. The lettering could use a little work, especially the no, like I said, but the rest of it too, like the block lettering for place, home, and holidays, all kind of aren't straight, you can tell, and they're not centered properly either, so could have done better with that. This one I actually did a proper transition for, so yay. And then I also did a little show off for this one, which I didn't do for any of the other ones. But anyway, with this one I have a little bit of an excuse to have some not perfect writing, or lettering I mean. So the baking part was meant to be cookie shaped, so those aren't perfect normally, so that worked out. So for this cookie lettering on top, it's like a frosted sugar cookie. So I made like a light brownish base, and then I put some white frosting on top, and then I'm going to put some sprinkles on later. So that's what those were supposed to be up there. And for that middle word there, spirits, I did a like flourished fancy script. It's hard to see while I'm doing it, but you'll see it better when I erase. And then for the last word, bright, kind of similar to the neon in Merry and Bright in the other sign that I did a little earlier. But hold on a second, I'm about to be interrupted by Assistant Chaz. He's got something very important to tell me. And that important message was feed me. I cut that part out of the video, but I did have to feed him. But as I was saying, I made the lettering for Bright down there similar to the Merry and Bright on the other sign with the neon. But I also added another step to it, which I was adding some string lights like around the letters. And this ended up looking really good too. I was proud of this. But I also love doing those string lights, even though they are time consuming, especially if you do multiple colors like I did. But I make them all the time on signage and windows and things like that. One of my favorite things to do during the holidays. And in an upcoming video soon on this channel, I'm going to be talking about exactly how I do those, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Also, subscribing would help, right? If you haven't already. Just saying. And kind of similarly, like I said before, I added sprinkles to the baking lettering up there as well, the cookies. And then I'm erasing, and now you can see spirits better. And again, I was really happy with this one. I probably could have made spirits a little thicker so you could see it a little better. Even after it was erased, it's a little hard to see with the color. But overall, I love it. Kept it in my kitchen for the party that I was hosting. Might do another version sometime, not this year, but maybe a year coming up. Guess we'll see. Okay, now this sign. Well, first of all, I made a proper transition with this one, so good job me. But also, as I said earlier, I released these videos separately as short videos on my channel and on my other social media as well. And I know for sure on YouTube, but there may have been other ones. Everyone loved this video. Like, it blew up. Got way more views than all the other ones, and I'm like, why? It's so plain. But, it's probably because I made up the word humbuggery, and people like that. But I do find it funny how, like, which videos blow up on YouTube, or like shorts or reels or anything like that. And the ones that don't, like the certain projects that I make, like some of them I'm really proud of, and I think people are going to like a lot, and it's like going to actually attract people to my channel. And then I like make this, and everyone's like, ooh, that's a nice video. And, I got a couple subscribers from it as well, I believe. And, but I'm like, but what, do you look at the other masterpieces I make? Like, why are you like going after this one? Like, it's always the ones, as a creator, the ones you don't expect that blow up the most. So just to keep in mind if you want to make your own channel. But anyway, like I said, very simple. I could have, like you saw me use my T-square to kind of make a horizontal line above Humbuggery there. And that kind of helped with that, but I don't know why I didn't make one on the bottom, because as you can see, this G is much shorter than the U, and the U is a little shorter than the B. Like, I was starting to go uphill. So I should have made a line down there too to make this easier, because especially when you start increasing the size of the letters, like, it gets very hard to make them just by your eyes, At least it does for me. I mean, I'm a professional, but I'm not, I'm not like perfect. So Humbuggery was a little, wiggly on the bottom there, but overall looked pretty well overall. And as you can see, as you get to the allowed back down there too, I should have probably made more lines for those as well, but Humbuggery was the worst one, where it kind of especially on the bottom there, kind of started going uphill, and then I was trying to, because I did see it a little bit, I was trying to correct it towards the end, as you can see now, but trying to make a little optical illusion. If it's really bad, obviously I'll erase and start over, but again, I wanted to save time, and these were temporary, and I just wanted to get them done, so I was okay with it overall. Another thing I'm not so happy about with Humbuggery is the inconsistency of the thickness of the letters. And you saw me try to correct that a little bit there, but I didn't really fully do that. So it's another thing I don't like about it. It's not really consistent thickness, and the baseline down there below the letters is slanted up a little bit, so it turned out to my eye. I know a lot of people probably look at it and like, oh, it's fine. It bothers me. You know what I mean? And like I said, a lot of this has to do with me just kind of rushing through all these, trying to get them done, didn't really properly plan for all of them, you know what I mean? Always my excuse, right? But I also have another video planned in the near future about how to make large-scale lettering properly on this channel, so that's going to be coming up too. And again, as a lettering artist, all of the letters on here are not so great. The no is probably the best one, and this sign is just lettering, so there's nothing to distract you from the bad lettering, so it makes it look worse. So again, I was okay with this, but not too happy. And for the record, it did get a couple of laughs in person as well, as, like I said, it blew up on YouTube, so I think the Humbuggery, that was the focus of the sign. No one cared about anything else, so I'm glad you all liked it. And this one I did a very different transition than the other ones, and I actually, followed throughout the video, which was cool. So, and there's the last one. All right. So the last three signs here, this one's the first of the three. I used a combination of regular chalk and chalk marker. And this one is a little kind of more personal sign that I made. I made our house, general shape house, into a gingerbread house, which the prior year I made a actual gingerbread house sign, and that was 2022. Remember, these are from 2023. I haven't made the ones for this year yet. But anyway, I was making signs for my kitchen, so gingerbread fits, in that theme. And I already made a gingerbread house, like a generic one last year, like I said, or 2022, like I said. So I wanted to do something a little more special, different this year. So I made our house into a gingerbread. And then, me, my husband, and our cat, that's our little family, into gingerbread people and cats as well. And then I was just adding more and more details, and I added a little bit, after the chalk, I added a little bit of chalk marker on top to make some icing and things like that. I could have made more on the gingerbread house, but again, I was kind of trying to save time, and I didn't want to mess anything up, so I'm like, I'll just leave it the way it is, with just the frosting on the top of the house there, and then kind of separating the windows there too, and then eyeballs. So again, kind of simple. I could have done more with the gingerbread house theme. Maybe I'll do that another year, but this worked out, and actually my husband really liked it. He's like, oh, that's cute, that's us, that's our house. So it's really all that matters is that he liked it. And this next one was kind of similar in a way. First of all, the transition. I actually didn't do a good job filming this one overall. As you can see, I missed filming any of that part. It was completely not filmed at all, but you'll get kind of the idea of what I did with the rest of it. But I did a lot of blending with the chalk, as I did in the last one with the gingerbread house too. So, but anyway, we don't have a fireplace in our house. We actually took it out when we did our remodeling because it was in a weird spot in our living room, and it was kind of not put together well and stuff, so we didn't have a fireplace. So I put it kind of near where the fireplace used to be in our house when I put it up. But we don't have any kids right now. Don't know if that's going to change. But, we don't really have much of a reason to put stockings up. We're adults, and then the cat, we don't really need to. But, it was kind of a way to kind of have that in a sign form. And this also, with these lines, actually, I think I erased these and I do them over. But even after I erased them, they're not perfect. I should have really I had my square there. I don't know why I didn't, my T-square. But I should have just, done them properly. I guess I did at some point. But they still turned out kind of bad because I was, again, rushing through it, so, but looked better than they did the first time I tried on that side. But anyway, like I said, I did the blending and stuff with kind of a darker outline for the lines, but still in chalk, not chalk marker at that point, to kind of make that kind of, you know, depth a little bit with the brickwork and the fireplace, like the wood grain and stuff, and the fire. And then really the only thing I did chalk markers with, you'll see in a minute, I did the stockings. So I did the stockings themselves in chalk, and then I wrote our names on with chalk marker. But overall, I was impressed with my artistic skills on this one. Again, I'm more of a design and a lettering person, not an artist. So I'm learning, I'm doing better, but I'm kind of, you know, happy with my progress as far as like making things look a little bit more realistic and, you know, being a better artist overall. So some of these were a little more arty than designy, if you catch my drift. And I like the personal aspect as well, so like it means a little more like, oh, this is our cute little fireplace that we don't have in our stockings, and, you know, makes it feel a little more homey even though we don't have those things in our house. So it's nice to just make, again, a temporary sign, and I can make something else next year, which is actually this year. So we'll see what I do this year. I'm going to do a few different signs this year, just not as many as last year for sure. This one that I'm talking about now, where I made 7, because I'm not hosting any Christmas parties at my house this year, so it's only just us, and I don't have to make that many, but I do have ideas to make a few, so I'm going to make some this year. I'm probably not going to make a video on just that, but I am planning on making kind of a miscellaneous video with a few of those signs and a few other projects that I'm going to do this year. So that's what my plan is. I'm hoping that'll happen. But you know how things go on this channel if you follow me. I'm going to try though. So we'll see what I do. And again, overall, I was happy with this. The only thing, like I mentioned before, the lines, and then it got a little smudged on the right there. It would have been too hard to fix at that point, so it was fine. So this one was my favorite sign that year. Wait till you see what I do with the transition, though. I messed this up. Totally came from the same direction. Did you see that? Anyway, so again, I'm starting with chalk here, doing some blending, and then I add some chalk marker details on top to kind of outline and make it a little more visible. So, like I said, this ended up being my favorite sign that I made, but this one didn't blow up as much when I posted it on YouTube as the Humbuggery one. So again, what I said before about how like I have my favorite, but then like when I upload it, I mean, it all depends on the timing too, because, you know, it depends when you upload it and who happens to be watching at that point, and, you know, if YouTube decides to push it out to more people, which most of the time they don't. So, but like I said, this was my favorite, but then like everyone else liked the Humbuggery sign, so I was kind of like, well, if everyone liked that one, they're going to love this one, right? Not really, apparently. So, actually, if you want to leave a comment, if you're watching this, let me know which one you like the best out of all of these in this video. Because I'm curious. Because I like this one. Do you like this one, or do you like other ones better? Which one do you like? The only thing I don't like is it's a little bit too much of a harsh contrast between the chalk marker and the chalk. I probably could have outlined the Santa, like his hat, like the red part, and the suit. Could have used a little more outline there to kind of go with the rest of it, but other than that, I don't really have much of a complaint about anything else. I like everything. I like the lettering. I was able to draw Santa, which I'm not normally very good at drawing anything that has a face on it, as I've said before. So, like I said, it's not perfect, but for me, I was proud of myself, that Santa. So, that's really all I have to say about that one, other than, again, it was my favorite. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. I don't have any bonus footage or anything like that, so hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.